What I'm about to share with you might feel uncomfortable at first, but that's exactly why it holds the power to transform your life. As Louise Hay always taught us, the most profound healing happens when we're willing to look at our patterns with love and honesty. So here's the truth, beautiful soul. There's a part of you that's afraid of your own success. I know that might sting a little. I know you might want to close this video right now and tell yourself, that's not true about me. But before you do, I invite you to breathe deeply and stay with me. I am willing to look at my patterns with love and compassion. If you truly wanted to change your life, wouldn't you have done it by now? You have access to all the wisdom you need. Books, courses, videos, mentors. You've set beautiful intentions. You've made promises to yourself under the full moon, written in journals, created vision boards. But here you are, still waiting for that magical moment when everything will finally click into place. And you know what? That's perfectly human. And it's exactly where your healing begins. The comfort zone of almost. Let me tell you about Sarah, a 42-year-old marketing executive from Denver. Sarah had been talking about starting her own consulting business for 7 years. 7 years! She had the skills, the connections, even some potential clients lined up. But every time she got close to taking the leap, something would happen. A project at work would demand her attention. Her daughter would need help with school. The timing just never felt quite right. Sarah wasn't afraid of outright failure. She was afraid of the responsibility that comes with success. She was comfortable living in the space of almost there because it felt safe. She could dream about her future without having to face the vulnerability of actually creating it. I release my need to stay small and embrace my power to create. Does this sound familiar? There's a part of you that loves the idea of transformation, of proving everyone wrong, of becoming the woman you know you're meant to be. But the thought of actually stepping into that power, that feels terrifying. And Louise Hay understood this better than anyone. She knew that our deepest fears often masquerade as procrastination. This pattern of almost becomes a comfortable prison. We collect certificates, attend workshops, buy courses, and fill our minds with knowledge. But we never quite take the leap into implementation. It's like standing at the edge of a beautiful lake, knowing how refreshing the water would feel, but never actually diving in. We convince ourselves that we need just one more swimming lesson, one more perfect day, one more guarantee that we won't get cold. The hidden fear of your own magnificence. Here's what Louise Hay discovered through her own journey and through helping thousands of women. We're not actually afraid of failure. We're afraid of our own magnificence. We're afraid of what it would mean to truly step into our power, to take up space, to shine as brightly as we're capable of shining. Think about it. If you truly succeeded at everything you've been dreaming about, what would that mean? It would mean admitting that you've had the power all along. It would mean taking responsibility for the years you spent waiting. It would mean stepping into a future where there are no excuses left to hide behind. I am ready to embrace my magnificence and step into my power. Let me share another story. Jennifer, a 38-year-old teacher from Portland, had been wanting to write a novel for 15 years. She had notebooks full of ideas, characters that felt like old friends, plot lines that made her heart race with excitement. But every time she sat down to actually write, she'd find herself cleaning the house instead, or checking social media, or suddenly remembering urgent errands that needed to be done. Jennifer wasn't lazy. She wasn't lacking in creativity or talent. She was terrified of discovering just how powerful her voice could be. She was afraid that if she wrote her story, people might actually listen. and that felt like more responsibility than she was ready to handle. This fear of our own magnificence often stems from childhood messages we received about not being too much. Maybe you were told not to show off, not to be too loud, not to take up too much space. These well-meaning but limiting messages created a blueprint in your subconscious that equates visibility with danger, success with selfishness, and power with being unloved. I give myself permission to be seen, heard, and celebrated. The subconscious sabotage patterns. Louise Hay taught us that our subconscious mind is like a garden. It will grow whatever seeds we plant there, whether they serve us or not. If we've been planting seeds of, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve success, then that's exactly what will bloom in our lives. Consider Patricia, a 44-year-old real estate agent from Miami. Patricia had all the skills to be a top performer in her field. She was knowledgeable, personable, and genuinely cared about her clients. But every time she was on the verge of a breakthrough month, something would go wrong. A deal would fall through at the last minute. A client would suddenly change their mind. She'd get sick right before a big presentation. Patricia thought she was just unlucky. But when she started examining her patterns with Louise Hay's principles, she realized something profound. She was unconsciously sabotaging herself every time success got too close. Deep down, she believed that if she became too successful, her friends would resent her, her family would expect too much from her, and she'd lose the connections that felt most important to her. I deserve success, and I trust that my relationships will grow stronger as I grow. This is the insidious nature of self-sabotage. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It whispers quietly in the background, creating coincidences and bad luck that keep us exactly where our subconscious believes we belong. The key to breaking free is recognizing these patterns with compassion, not judgment. Your future self is calling. But here's the beautiful truth that Louise Hay taught us. Your future self, the woman you're meant to become, she's not just waiting for you. She's actively calling to you. Every time you feel that stirring in your heart, every time you catch a glimpse of what's possible, that's her voice, reaching across time to remind you of who you really are. I trust the wisdom of my future self and allow her to guide me. Your future self knows something that your current self is still learning, that the pain of staying stuck is far greater than the temporary discomfort of growth. She knows that every excuse you make every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, every time you avoid looking honestly at your patterns, that's the weight that's keeping you from everything you desire. Maria, a 45-year-old nurse from Phoenix, understood this deeply. She had been carrying an extra 40 pounds for over a decade, always starting diets on Monday, always finding reasons to quit by Wednesday. But one day, she realized something profound. She wasn't afraid of being overweight. She was afraid of being the kind of woman who took care of herself, who prioritized her own needs, who believed she deserved to feel beautiful and strong. The moment Maria recognized this pattern, everything shifted. She stopped trying to change her body and started changing her relationship with herself. She began with small acts of self-love, preparing nourishing meals, taking gentle walks, speaking to herself with kindness. The weight loss became a natural byproduct of learning to love herself. I choose to love and care for myself in all ways. Your future self also knows that the stories you tell yourself about why you can't change are just that, stories. They're not facts, they're not permanent truths, and they're certainly not more powerful than your ability to choose differently. She's living proof that transformation is not only possible, but inevitable when you align your actions with your authentic desires. the sacred act of letting go. Louise Hay taught us that healing happens when we're willing to let go, not just of our problems, but of our attachment to our problems. Sometimes we hold on to our struggles because they've become part of our identity. They give us something to talk about, something to bond over with friends, something to explain why we haven't achieved what we want yet. But what if you didn't need those stories anymore? What if you could let go of the version of yourself that needs to struggle, that needs to prove her worth through suffering, that needs to earn love through being perfect? I release old patterns that no longer serve me and embrace new possibilities. This is where the real transformation begins, not in forcing yourself to change, but in loving yourself enough to let go of what's keeping you stuck. It's in recognizing that the woman you've been is not the woman you have to remain. Think about Rachel, a 41-year-old graphic designer from Seattle. Rachel had been in the same job for 12 years, complaining about her boss, her workload, her lack of creative freedom. She had a portfolio full of personal projects that showcased her true artistic vision, but she never showed them to anyone. She told herself she was being practical, responsible, realistic. But the truth was, Rachel was terrified of being seen as the artist she really was. She was afraid that if she put her true work out into the world, and it wasn't received well, she'd have to face the possibility that maybe she wasn't as talented as she believed. So she stayed in her safe, unfulfilling job, complaining but never changing. The act of letting go isn't about abandoning everything you've built. It's about releasing your grip on the limitations you've accepted as truth. It's about recognizing that the safety you think you found in staying small is actually a prison that's keeping you from experiencing the fullness of who you are. I trust that letting go creates space for something better to enter my life. The perfectionism trap. One of the biggest obstacles to transformation is the belief that we need to have everything figured out before we begin. This perfectionism masquerades as preparation, but it's actually procrastination in disguise. Louise Hay understood that perfectionism is not about high standards. It's about fear of judgment, fear of criticism, and ultimately, fear of not being enough. Meet Angela, a 36-year-old software developer from Austin. Angela had been wanting to transition into UX design for 4 years. She had taken online courses, attended workshops, and even completed several practice projects. But she kept telling herself she needed just one more certification, one more portfolio piece, one more year of experience before she'd be ready to apply for UX positions. The truth was, Angela had been ready for over 2 years. She was using perfectionism as a shield to protect herself from the possibility of rejection. She'd rather stay in the safety of preparing than risk hearing no from a potential employer. I am enough exactly as I am, and I trust in my ability to learn and grow. Perfectionism tells us that we need to be flawless before we're worthy of success, love, or recognition. But Louise Hay taught us that we are worthy simply because we exist. Our worthiness isn't something we earn through achievement. It's our birthright. As human beings, when we release the need to be perfect, we open ourselves to the beautiful messiness of growth. We allow ourselves to be beginners, to make mistakes, to learn as we go. This is where real transformation happens, not in the polished final product, but in the courage to begin imperfectly. If this message brought a little peace to your heart, please give this video a gentle like and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content. The moment of truth. So let me ask you, beautiful soul, are you ready to stop lying to yourself? Are you ready to stop pretending that tomorrow will be different when you've done nothing today to make it so? Or are you going to stay in this loop forever, watching videos like this, feeling inspired, nodding along, and then returning to the same patterns that have kept you stuck? I am ready to face my truth with love and courage, because here's what Louise Hay knew. If you're not ready to face the temporary discomfort of change, nothing will ever change for you. But if you are ready, if you're truly ready to step into your power, then everything you need is already within you. You don't need more information. You don't need more time. You don't need perfect conditions or a detailed plan. You just need to take one loving action toward the woman you're becoming. This moment of truth isn't about dramatic gestures or life-altering decisions. It's about the quiet recognition that you have a choice right now to continue the patterns that have kept you stuck or to choose differently. It's about understanding that every moment offers you a fresh opportunity to align with your highest good. I choose to align with my highest good in this moment. The ripple effect of self-love. When you begin to transform your relationship with yourself, something magical happens. It creates ripples that extend far beyond your own life. Louise Hay discovered this truth through her own healing journey and witnessed it countless times in the lives of the women she helped. Consider the story of Diane, a 43-year-old mother of 3 from Nashville. Diane had spent years putting everyone else's needs before her own, convinced that self-care was selfish. She was exhausted, resentful, and felt invisible in her own life. But when she began practicing Louise Hay's principles of self-love, everything shifted. Diane started with small acts of self-care, taking 5 minutes each morning to set positive intentions, saying no to commitments that drained her energy, speaking to herself with the same kindness she showed her children. As she began to value herself more, her family noticed the change. Her children started treating her with more respect. Her husband began contributing more to household responsibilities. Her friends started coming to her for advice about their own self-care journeys. My self-love creates positive changes in all my relationships. This is the beautiful truth about transformation. When you heal yourself, you give others permission to heal too. When you step into your power, you show others what's possible for them. When you choose love over fear, you become a beacon of possibility in a world that desperately needs more light. The power of one sacred step, whether it's opening your journal and writing one page about your dreams, putting on your walking shoes and stepping outside, making your bed with intention and gratitude, or simply looking in the mirror and saying, "I love you." It doesn't matter how small the step is. What matters is that you're moving forward with love. I take loving action toward my highest good. Let me tell you about Linda, a 39-year-old accountant from Chicago. Linda had been wanting to start a blog about financial wellness for women for 3 years. She had researched platforms, outlined dozens of posts, even bought a domain name. But she never published a single word. One Tuesday morning, Linda decided to stop waiting for the perfect moment. She wrote one paragraph, just one, about why she believed women deserved to feel confident about money. She published it without editing, without a perfect website design, without a marketing plan. That one paragraph led to another, then another. Within 6 months, Linda had built a community of thousands of women who were transforming their relationship with money. The magic wasn't in Linda's perfect plan. The magic was in her willingness to begin imperfectly, with love. Your healing begins now. As Louise Hay always reminded us, the point of power is always in the present moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Right now. This moment is where your transformation begins. I claim my power in this present moment. The hardest part isn't actually changing. It's deciding to change. It's choosing to love yourself enough to let go of the familiar patterns that have kept you safe but small. It's trusting that the woman you're becoming is worth the temporary discomfort of growth. Your future self isn't just hoping you'll make this choice. She's counting on it. She knows that every small step you take today creates the foundation for the life you're meant to live. She knows that your willingness to begin, imperfectly, courageously, lovingly, is what will set you free. So take that first step, beautiful soul. Not because you have to, but because you deserve to. Not because it will be easy, but because you are strong enough to handle whatever comes. Not because you're perfect, but because you're perfectly worthy of the life you're dreaming of. I am worthy of all the love and success I desire. The woman you're becoming is already within you. She's been waiting patiently, lovingly, for you to recognize her power. Today is the day you stop waiting and start becoming. Today is the day you choose love over fear, action over excuses, growth over comfort. You've got this, beautiful. You've always had this. Now it's time to believe it.